All right, Rick, we each came up with 5 names of guys that by the time April gets here, folks will know who they are, but may not have an idea yet. Maybe they're NFL fans who are just dipping their toe into the draft waters. Maybe they're college fans of a specific team and haven't had the whole purview of the college landscape. But that's what we're here for. So we'll go back and forth, and we'll start with your list first. I'll let you choose your player. You can start at number 1 there. You can mix it up.
I'm going to go. This is in no specific order, but we just talked about Robinson, but a name that everybody has to get to know. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited to see him show up down at the Senior Bowl. There's another lad, a number 2 running back at Texas, Roschon Johnson, who is just as big or may even be bigger than Robinson. But this kid was very impressive to watch on tape. The thing that's intriguing about this kid is that he has some little man movement skills. He is not as quick twitch maybe as Robinson is, but this guy will dead leg a defender in the hole. And by that, you mean this guy can just kind of drop his weight and spin and get out of contact and get downfield. He has open field speed. It's a build-up type speed, but he had a 52-yard touchdown run in the tape I watched against Oklahoma State. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He's more than willing as a blocker. They use him on some as a kickoff returner, although I think he's more of a backup kickoff returner at this level than a true number 1 type kickoff returner. And if you keep digging and going down through the special teams, this guy went down and 2 or 3 times blew up returners when he was running down on kickoff coverage, which tells me this guy is not just a running back, that he is a very good football player. So I'm anxious to see him down at the Senior Bowl, and he's kind of been second fiddle at Texas. But I think by the time this pre-draft process gets through, he's going to be climbing up the draft boards pretty quick.
You know what, man? I can't disagree with you. Did you call him a lad, by the way? I like that.
A young lad?
A young lad. He is fun to watch. And I don't know if you mentioned it, but no tread on the tires either. He hasn't had more than 100 carries the last 3 seasons. I think he had 100 carries in his freshman campaign. And I watched the Oklahoma game this morning, and I mean, they beat the pants off that Oklahoma team, but he was doing many of the same things that you just talked about. And I like him a lot. How much value does backup kick returner fine, but how much value does a coverage team bring to a player like this with low mileage who has high upside as a running back?
Well, as he's developing him, he's not your number 1, or if he's your 1B or number 2 and you're rotating in and out, where the value of being able to do some things on special teams comes is because you only have X amount of guys active on game day. So your backup receivers, your backup what we call big skill guys, linebackers, tight ends, backup secondary guys. And if you can get some big skills from the offensive side of the ball, which is hard to get, that can go out there and play special teams, that's just an added bonus for you.
All right, I'm going to risk the wrath of Rick. I like this guy on day 2, and maybe earlier day 2, mid to early day 2, because low mileage, because of the special teams angle that you ask. He feels like a running back 2 from day 1, and then you go from there. How do you feel about that?
I actually going to pleasantly, surprisingly agree with you. And I'm not so sure before this is said and done that this is not the 3rd running back off the board.
Oh, I love it. We need an applause drop, Debo, because Rick, for the first time in 3.5 episodes, agreed with something that I said. All right. I was very...
Should we stop the segment now? Because it's going to get ugly going forward.
I know. It's like George Costanza finally hits the joke. I'm done. Thank you.
Drop the mic and move on.
All right, let's go to my guy, and you can turn the tables on me here. I'll start with a guy that I know you have questions about that I like a lot. Let's go with Michael Wilson, wide receiver out of Stanford. There's the face I was looking for. Your guy we'll talk about in a minute, Xavier Hutchinson. These guys are in the same category physically, I feel like. They're over 6'1", they're over 200 pounds. They run pretty well. We can argue about who has better hands, but I think I'm not a huge
The guy that catches the ball more consistently is usually considered the guy with better hands, just so you know. But
okay.
Let's go on.
I'll make a note of that. I'm not a huge Tanner McKee guy. I know some people are high on him. That's fine, and we can talk about him later, the quarterback for Stanford. But I thought Michael Wilson physically did some things well that translate to the next level. Is he a class A route runner? No. Does he have focus drops? Yes. But I think he is physical at the line of scrimmage. I know you had issues at the USC game. I think he can get off the line. I think he is good on the short and intermediate routes. I didn't mind his ball tracking it all down the field. And I think if he went like third round, like a third round guy that you project to work as the number 3 or number 4 early on and go from there, I don't hate it. You're shaking your head.
Yeah. Well, can I disagree with you on some things now? Now that we're back to the normal part of the show?
Yeah, we're back on Earth. Go ahead.
I did. I'm sitting here looking at my report, and he did not play after the Notre Dame game because I believe he got injured, and I don't know what his injury is yet.
Yeah, they didn't say what it was, interestingly enough.
Yeah, no, because I tried to pull it up, and I don't know what the injury was. But this guy is a good-sized receiver. He does have enough speed. I agree with most of the points you made.
Okay,
the question I have on this kid is he has a tendency to try to cradle the ball when he's coming in on inside routes. And at times, I'm not saying that he's a coward, but he sees ghost. And most of his drops that I charted were on inside breaking routes where he was going to head through traffic. And this guy is a tough kid. He made some nice catches in traffic, but his concentration, when it gets a little muddy in there, that's where he had the tendency to have his most drops. And the other thing, I did see him go up and high point some downfield, but when you're talking about big receiver, I want to see him be able to go up and torque his body and win most of those 50-50 balls. And I didn't see this kid do that consistently enough. And I'll give you credit. He played very poorly at USC, and that was the first game I watched. And sometimes as an evaluator, when you put on that first game, it's hard to get that out of your head.
Right.
But he did play better against Washington. He did play pretty good against Notre Dame as well. I saw him as a Saturday guy, to be honest with you.
Oh.
If he does run fast, this guy is draftable, so you're right on that part. You just got him in the wrong day. He's going to be He's going to be a Saturday draft pick at this point.
We'll see him at the Senior Bowl, and in the preseason, he ran a 4.45. We'll see if those numbers are true or not as we get through the process. Who you got? Who's next, Rick?
Well, let me counter you.
Oh, here we go.
With actually a receiver that I think is going to go in on Friday and is going to make a lot of noise down at the Senior Bowl. And this kid, Xavier Hutchinson, is a name to remember, a receiver out of Iowa State. Now, he was the only offensive weapon they had. They had very inconsistent quarterback play. This guy does have his drops, so before you jump down my throat, I did see a couple of drops. I saw the big drop against Texas. But when he's lining up and how he is able to torque his body into unique positions, to put it mildly, to come up with catches, it was incredible. To see his balance along the sideline and one-handed catch and get 1 or 2 feet in bounds to make that reception was incredible. I try to compare him to a Dobbs, who I watched out of Nevada last year. And this kid is more talented to me than Dobbs. And I think if this kid runs well at the combine and shows up down at the Senior Bowl, I think this guy has a chance to be a legit Friday receiver, and someone's going to get a number 2 receiver out of this kid.
No, I get that. And I won't push back too hard on that. You saw the Texas game where he had some drops. The Kansas State game, he had some drops late in the game that just, to your point earlier, sometimes you see things that leave a sour taste in your mouth, and it affects your ability to look at the overall picture. I like him, though. I had him going late day 2. And I think, and again, this is the fall. So he goes to Senior Bowl. He balls out there in the one-on-one drills. He runs a 4.45 or whatever. He ends up running as a big kid. He's 6'2", listed 205. And that's the other thing. And I'll ask this quickly, and this is not necessarily specific to Hutchinson or Michael Wilson. When you see these guys at this size, 6'2", 200, is making these contested catches, is your first thought that's great, or is your first thought, okay, why aren't they getting separation consistently against lesser competition?
Well, my guy gets more separation than your guy does, so that's the number 1 point.
I'll give you that. In general, though, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, because we'll talk about probably down the road here a receiver from Tennessee that does not get separation when he goes down the field in Tillman, but that's a whole nother conversation. But we're going to have a new segment on the show. Yeah. I'm going to bet Ryan $1 on every time I disagree with him, and I will bet you $1 that Hutchinson goes before your
Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson from Stanford.
Did you ever think that Michael Wilson might be related to me, and I'm just trying to pump up his draft stock a little bit? Did that ever cross your mind by any chance?
Yeah, no. Yeah, not his athletic ability and yours.
Oh, gosh. All right, I'll make a note. And I don't feel great about this bet. I think he'll win this bet, but let's do it for fun. All right, that's $1. So we'll do Xavier versus Mike, and we'll do that. That'll be the first bet. So I'll make a note of that, and we'll keep track of these things as we go through the process. All right, I'm going to talk about my guy who I think is going to counter your guy in terms of impact once he's drafted. Let's go with Blake Freeland, the offensive tackle, the left tackle out of BYU. Now, we talked quickly about him this morning, and your first note was that he's skinny, and he is skinny. There's no doubt about it. But I thought he's listed 6'8", 307. And I mean, that's light as far as offensive tackles goes, no doubt about it. Left tackle, and I thought he played with a much better anchor than someone at that size and that weight. I was pleasantly surprised. And he did it consistently. I watched the Boise State game and a Notre Dame game, and Notre Dame have some dues. Isaiah Foskey's going to get drafted probably on day 2, and we'll talk about him at some point. But I was impressed with his athleticism for someone that size. I thought he moved pretty well laterally. I thought he got to the second level much better than I expected him to. And I had very few expected issues with him that I thought I might have. I was pleasantly surprised with how he played. And he feels like, and this is the other thing, offensive linemen are overdrafted all the time because those are huge needs. You need offensive linemen clearly to protect the quarterback and get the running game and all that other stuff. So I think he's a day 2 guy, and I feel pretty good about that. Yeah,
no, I'm not going to argue too bad with you here. As long as they rush down the middle of him, he seemed to anchor for a tall, skinny guy. Where I had the issues is when these guys are able to work his edges, which I'm talking about his inside shoulder or outside shoulder, and maybe go back and look at the Baylor game because he just got overpowered in that game in one of the games I saw. Try to compare him to Christensen, who came out a few years ago from BYU, who actually moved inside, because I don't know how long this guy's arms are.
35 is according to the measurements I have.
Okay, well, he's going to be long enough to be a left tackle then. But Christensen, who went in the 3rd round to Carolina, I think he's their starting left guard right now. And even a guy that we took from Boise, Ezra Cleveland, who we took in the 2nd round, who I had some similar traits that this guy does. So I'm not going to argue with you there. I think he is a Friday guy. I'm anxious to see how he performs during this pre-draft process. So,
can you be 6'8" if he is actually 6'8"? And is that too tall to play guard, or is that not?
I think if he has 35-inch arms and he's that tall, that people are going to keep him at tackle. Okay. And if they don't think he is athletic enough to play left tackle, especially if he gets worked through his edges and can't recover, that they'll look at him on the right side as well.
Okay. All right. I'll take that. That's a win for me as far as I'm concerned. You didn't blast me. All right. Who do you got next?
Okay. My guy, another dollar bet, Cody Mauch from North Dakota. Mock, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. From North Dakota State will go before your guy from BYU. That's another dollar bet.
Look at this. Look at this. Have you seen this, Rick? This graphic?
No, I can't see anything. I'm just talking in front of a camera right now.
All right, so I sent you his mugshot with the long hair and the missing the front teeth. I think you see that one.
No, I can't see it.
No, I texted it to you this morning.
Oh, I don't answer your texts. I'm sorry. No,
so, well, you'll be pleasantly surprised when you see the picture, because what Debo has on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, is when Cody Malk arrived at North Dakota State in 2017, and he is a little bit older, and you can talk whether that matters. He was 6'5", 221, came in as a tight end. And they showed this graphic during one of the games recently for North Dakota State. He's now 6'6", 303, and he looks like Thor if Thor lost a fight and got his 2 front teeth knocked out. But he is an animal. So you go ahead and talk about your guy.
Yeah, no, I love his athleticism. I love the passion he plays with. When you're looking at these offensive linemen, he has a lot of grit to his game. You look if he's a finisher, and he definitely shows that. And, you know, I've been watching North Dakota State, even doing some TV scouting as they go through in advance through these playoffs at the FCS level. So, but he is a dominant force at the level that he's playing at. Now, he's got a lot of technical issues that he's going to have to clean up. One of the things when you watch him in pass protection, the thing that really bothered me, I love how light his feet are, how he's able to adjust, how he's able to move in space. But when he sets in pass pro, and he's not going to get away with this at the next level, his hands come outside like this. So he doesn't punch and lock on. His hands are coming to the outside, and guys get into his body. So the one thing I really want to watch down at the Senior Bowl when we get down there is how he takes the coaching and how much that his technique improves, especially in pass pro, because the athletic skill set is there. But a lot of things that he may have a negative evaluation on are all things that I think can get corrected with coaching. But love the kid's attitude and the way he plays football. He was fun to watch.
I agree. That it's one of those things where sometimes you're watching players and you get sort of like you just get lulled because nothing's happening or they're not living up to expectations. This was thoroughly enjoyable. I think and this is not even some grand proclamation, I think he's better than Cordell Volson and Dylan Raditz, who were offensive linemen out of North Dakota State. Cordell was drafted, I think, on day 3 by the Bengals, and he's been starting some. I'm not sure if he's still a starter, and Dylan Raditz was drafted by the Titans. I think Malcolm's much stronger, but 32-inch arms, 32 and 3/8, excuse me, inch arms. What does that say for a left tackle?
Well, that's going to be a concern unless you're that unique of an athlete and have that unique of an athlete. We're going to talk about a tackle. I'm here at some point from Northwestern, and I came up with a pretty good, I think, comparison to him, that there are some left tackles that have shorter arms that are able to play left tackle in this league. So I think when he goes down to the Senior Bowl, you'll see him play tackle, but you'll also see him play inside a guard. And the one thing that you need to watch, and what we did as evaluators, when you're down there at the Senior Bowl, and all of a sudden you take a left tackle that has played pretty much outside or at the tackle position his whole career, and then all of a sudden you throw him in at guard and down at the Senior Bowl, that happens a lot faster. So you have to react a lot quicker. And it's funny when you watch some of these kids that will slide inside at guard, that first day or two in practice, they're really struggling. But all of a sudden they get caught up to the speed of the game, and then you see them start to build and get better in the next couple of days at practice. So this is one of the kids that I'm very excited to go down and see if they line him up at tackle. Can he hold up with those short arms? Or will they move him into guard and see how he holds up when things happen a lot quicker than they do when you're lined up at tackle on the edge?
Yeah, I think Zion Johnson out of BC last year convinced a lot of people that he could play just about anywhere because he kicked inside at the Senior Bowl. He was a left tackle, I think in part because of injury at BC, played guard and did some center work in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, and he was first-round pick of the Chargers, and for good reason. You mentioned the short arms. I remember asking 3 or 4 or 5 Super Bowls ago, I asked Dante Scarnecchia, the longtime great offensive line coach for the Patriots, about concerns with short arms. And this was the Jonah Williams draft, because Jonah Williams had short arms, quote unquote, coming out of Alabama. And he said, if you block with your arms close to your body anyway, it doesn't matter if your arms are 38 inches, you're going to have shorter arms. Matt Light had short arms. It's just a matter, to your point about Mal, technique. Like technique, helps overcome a lot of physical shortcomings. I mean, it's not going to save you every time, especially against some of these NFL pass rushers, but I thought that was an interesting perspective. And you don't automatically disqualify a player who's excelled at the college level just because he may not check every physical box. So let's talk about, I'll let you choose the guy you want to talk on my list, because we're going to speed this thing up so we can get to Rick's picks, my favorite segment. So I'll do one more guy and then we'll get to your guys.
Okay. Guy that I actually kind of liked.
Oh boy, here we go. Can I guess? Let me guess who it is. Okay.
Go ahead.
It's got to be Luke Musgrave, tight end out of Oregon State.
I did like him a little bit.
Is that who you going with?
Though he's another guy that was hurt and missed most of the year. But I saw the 2 games against Boise and Fresno before he got his knee injury. And this guy has excellent length. He's looks a little narrow frame, but this guy can be a threat in the passing game. He has such a large catching radius. And he makes contested catches. He needs to get stronger as a blocker. But I think this is a pretty deep draft class at tight ends where you're going to get a lot of value probably on Friday and even early into Saturday. And I think this kid, although he didn't play much this year, going down and having a big Senior Bowl week will definitely help this kid get in the mix in that Friday tight end group.
I mean, I can't even disagree with any of that. I love it. All right, so let's try to knock through your next 2 guys. See if we can do this in a couple of minutes here. I'll let you pick which one you want to start with. I love both these players, so unfortunately I can't push back on you, whichever direction you go here.
All right. One of the most underrated guys that I really like on Friday is a kid from Alabama named Brian Young. And when you watch this kid on tape, he doesn't have great length. He's not 6'5", 6'6", but he is a 6'3", 6'4" kid that's built extremely well through his upper and lower. And he can play the run. He can play multiple positions. He can play defensive end. They slide him inside as what we refer to as an under tackle or a 3 technique. I don't think he's a nose, although I've seen a few snaps of him at nose and pass rush situations. I had no question about this kid and how he played the run. What I really wanted to see is, can he develop as an inside nickel rusher, which everybody is looking for. So I project him to be a base defensive end. I don't think he's going to be big enough to hold up versus a run as an under tackle or a 3 technique, but I do think he can slide inside and be an effective pass rusher in third down and nickel situations. And my last guy, and thanks to you, Ryan, I've got to give you credit. You said you better look at those 2 safeties from Illinois because they're also pretty good players. And I really, really liked Martin, the safety from Illinois, who mostly lined up in the slot. He's a long, rangy kid that can run. You may be able to get away with him as a nickel corner to get you through a game. But I thought this kid had excellent range. I thought this kid is more than willing in support, solid wrap-up tackler. And as a free safety in the modern day NFL, this guy is going to excel from center field in the way he covers in space.
You know, it's the holiday season, Debo, when Rick is saying nice things about some of the things I've done. So I'll take it. Merry Christmas to me. Yeah, Chartavius Martin is a fun player without doubt. And he, unlike Devin Witherspoon, right? Devin Witherspoon? Yes, teammate Devin Witherspoon, who's undersized, and we'll have questions about that.
No. Now we're getting off track here.
No.
You're talking about your Brown brothers, the short Brown, the Brown, the other safety.
Jason Sidney.
Yeah.
Jason Sidney.
But
Devin's slight frame. But my point is that Martin's not. He looks the part.
Witherspoon looks the part. You tell me Witherspoon doesn't look the part?
I don't know if he weighs 185 pounds.
Oh, my God. He was the best football player on that field.
I agree. I'm just saying physically, those will be the
He's a corner. This kid's going to be a safety.
Okay. All right. Well, the Christmas over.
There goes yeah, bah humbug. Let's get back to reality. This Christmas year is starting to depress me.
That's what I get for going off script. All right.